Friday Workshop!
What is Friday Workshop?
Friday Workshop's making things, building things, what we do in the workshop.
What?
Making things, building things, what we do in the workshop.
Oh, okay. What are we doing this week?
This week we're showing you how we make things square.
Yeah, being square is really important in woodworking, and keeping things square makes your projects look a lot nicer. So we're going to show you how we
Make things square. Here we go.
We use it to keep our drill press table square. So we just put the drill bit across there and we put the table across there. We can see if it's square. We can also put it up against the bandsaw blade and the table to see if the table and the bandsaw blade are square. And we can also put it up against a fence to see if a fence is square. So these sort of speed squares are awesome.
This is a corner clamp. This is mostly used when we glue projects together and we want to keep them square. Keeps them all together and so they don't mess up at the angles. So that is this square.
This is a Carpenter Square. This Carpenter Square gets out of square all the time. It's really hard to keep a Carpenter Square in square. It's just such a thin piece of metal. And what we have to do is keep on hitting it with a mallet to get it square, and we usually have to use another square to guide it. So we don't trust the Carpenter Square. We use it for the straight edge mostly, but we don't use it for keeping things square, or unless we've already tuned it with another square. The measurements are great for large projects, and a Carpenter Square can be a great addition. If you get a much thicker one than we have, maybe it'll stay in square better, but we just don't trust ours.
Miter box square. Helps keep things square. So this right here is the cut that we use, and it helps keep it in a straight line so it doesn't like all wave out, and it works pretty well. It helps this guy over here pretty well, and it's really, really useful as a square.
This is a combination square. This one has actually metric and standard imperial because we use both. And then you can keep this one at angles, you can slide things around. Measuring, you can put a pen in here, slide it all the way down at any degree length to make parallel lines. There's so many things that you can do with a combination square to keep things square. If I had one square in the shop, it would be this combination square. This is probably one of my most used tools. I wish I had a smaller one as well that I could just keep in my pocket of my apron. But this one works really well, and I love it.
So this is what we call a jig. Helps keep things square. So when we're cutting the same thing over and over and over again, we want to keep it uniform. We want to make sure that it's all square perfectly as it is. So sometimes we make this kind of jig, and it helps keep the corners exactly how they are for each individual side.
Friday Workshop! And that's how we keep things square. So there's lots of different ways that we keep things square. We use different squares, we use jigs, we use cutting tools, boxes, miter boxes, you know, just to keep things square and keep our tools square as well. So that's kind of how we keep things square in the shop.
Yeah. And if you like videos like these, you should check out this one.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.